December 16, 1944, Ardennes Forest, Belgium. Snow lies heavy in the Ardennes, muffling sound and flattening distance. The forest stretches 4 miles in every direction, a dense maze of fir and pine, broken only by narrow roads and frozen streams. Visibility is poor, the sky is low and grey, the temperature hovers below freezing, and the ground is hard as iron. For the German High Command, this terrain is an opportunity. For the American Command, it is a liability. The Ardennes is considered unsuitable for large-scale armored movement. Its roads are narrow, its forests thick, its valleys steep. Both sides learned this lesson in 1940. Since then, the region has been treated as a quiet sector, a place to rest battered divisions and train inexperienced units. That assumption will not survive the day. Before dawn, German artillery opens fire along a front more than 50 miles wide. The barrage is brief but violent, designed to shock rather than destroy. In the darkness, infantry units move forward, followed closely by armor. The centerpiece of the attack is not subtle. Panzer divisions advance directly into the forest. German planners believe the Americans will never expect tanks here. They are counting on surprise, weather, and disbelief to do what numbers alone cannot. They are right at first. American units along the front are thinly spread. Many are green. Communications fail almost immediately as lines are cut and radios jammed by terrain. Fog limits air support. Snow slows movement. Reports from the front are confused, contradictory, and incomplete. Then the first messages come in. Enemy tanks. In the forest. At headquarters, some officers dismiss the reports as error. Others assume the tanks must be confined to roads. Armor, doctrine says, cannot move freely through trees this dense. Not in winter, not at speed. But the Germans have prepared carefully. Engineer units move ahead of the armor, clearing paths just wide enough for tanks to pass. Trees are felled, dragged aside, or crushed under tracks. Frozen ground supports the weight. Vehicles move slowly, but steadily, engines throttled low to reduce noise. The forest begins to move. By mid-morning, American outposts are overrun by forces they never expected to face. Tanks emerge from tree lines at ranges measured in yards. Infantry follows close behind, using the armor as moving cover. Roadblocks are bypassed. Defensive positions are flanked without warning. The forest, once thought a shield, becomes a corridor. In places like Lausheim Gap and near the Schnee Eifel, German armored spearheads punch through American lines with alarming speed. Units are cut off. Supply routes vanish. Maps become meaningless as the situation changes hour by hour. The surprise is complete, but it will not last. December 17, 1944, Ardennes Forest. Morning reveals the damage. American units that held their positions through the night now find themselves partially surrounded. Snow-covered roads are choked with abandoned vehicles. Fuel dumps burn where German patrols have broken through. Refugees move westward on foot, carrying what they can, adding confusion to already strained movement. The German advance continues through terrain that doctrine said would stop it. Panzerlehr Division and the 1st SS Panzer Division push forward aggressively, using forest paths widened only hours earlier. Tanks move in column where possible, single file where necessary. Crews navigate by compass, map, and instinct. Visibility is often less than 100 yards. In several sectors, American anti-tank guns never fire. Their crews never see the tanks until they are already behind them. At Landsrath Ridge, small American units fight delaying actions far out of proportion to their numbers. Roadblocks slow columns just long enough to force detours deeper into the forest. Every delay matters. Every hour lost threatens the German timetable. Fuel is already becoming a concern. German tanks consume far more fuel than trucks or infantry. The plan depends on capturing Allied fuel depots intact. Every mile traveled off-road increases consumption and mechanical strain. Broken tracks and frozen engines begin to take their toll. Still, the shock holds. American commanders struggle to re-establish a coherent line. Divisions are repositioned hastily. Orders change mid-transmission. Units march toward locations that no longer exist as objectives. By the afternoon of December 17th, it is clear this is not a local attack. This is a full-scale offensive. December 18th, 1944, Bastogne approaches. The German advance converges toward road junctions, not towns. In the Ardennes, roads are power. One junction in particular becomes critical. Bastogne. 7 major roads meet there, radiating outward like spokes. Control Bastogne, and armored columns can move west, north, or south with speed. Lose it, and the offensive slows to a crawl. American forces begin pouring into the town. The 101st Airborne Division, rushed in by truck, arrives without full equipment, short on ammunition and winter gear. They dig in immediately, knowing time is short. German tanks reach the outskirts. Once again, they come through the trees. Forests that were supposed to anchor defensive flanks instead conceal armored movements. Tanks appear where they are least expected, sometimes emerging less than 200 yards from American positions. But the conditions that enabled surprise now begin to work against the attackers. Snow deepens. Fuel shortages worsen. Supply columns struggle to keep up through narrow forest routes. American resistance stiffens as units realize what they are facing. Artillery fires increase. By December 19th, American guns begin to dominate key approaches. German tanks moving through forest clearings are forced to halt, then maneuver under fire. Infantry advances slow as casualties mount. The forest no longer belongs exclusively to the attacker. December 20th to 22nd, 1944. The offensive stalls. The Germans encircle Bastogne, but fail to capture it. American resistance, though isolated, holds firm. Weather begins to clear. Allied aircraft return to the sky. The same forests that once hid German armor now limit its retreat. American counterattacks begin along the shoulders of the Bulge. Units that survive the initial shock regroup and push back. Through terrain they now understand better. Engineers improve roads. Tanks follow cleared paths instead of forcing new ones. German armored units, low on fuel and ammunition, abandon vehicles where they stand. Trees close in again, swallowing wrecks and frozen steel. By early January, the initiative has shifted. The Ardennes offensive fails not because tanks moved through the forest but because they could not move fast enough, far enough, or be sustained once surprise faded. Outcome and legacy. The Battle of the Bulge remains the largest and bloodiest battle fought by American forces in World War II. The German decision to push armor through the Ardennes achieved tactical surprise and early success, but at immense cost. The forest did not stop the tanks. Time did, fuel did, and the resilience of defenders who adapted faster than expected. The Ardennes proved that terrain assumptions could be shattered, but also that no advantage lasts without supply, coordination, and endurance. Call to remembrance. In frozen forests and narrow clearings, tens of thousands fought and died far from headlines or ceremony. Their struggle was measured not in sweeping maneuvers, but in yards of ground taken or held under impossible conditions. Remembering them is remembering how quickly certainty can fail, and how courage persists when it does.